Hi, I'm Danielle Harbin, and welcome to Poured in PA, a series sharing the stories of Pennsylvania's craft beer industry. Beer tends to bring out the creative side in all of us. Some of us just tend to have a better way of channeling that creativity and turning it into a business. In this episode, you'll meet a number of craft beer fans who have found a way to incorporate beer into a whole new product.
We have 3 border collies, and they get very excited when we have dog treats. I started the company in about 2016, so I make cookies is what we started out as, custom sugar cookies and a ton of different flavors of cookies as well. Probably about 2 years ago, we started to kind of tie in some dog treats just because my husband and our friend and neighbor started kind of doing some home brewing on the side. So they had all these fun grains and stuff, and we wanted to find something to do with them so we're not wasting them. I went on a couple of different boards, and people do breads and all different kinds of stuff, but the dog treats was kind of an easy thing to try. So I started testing out some recipes and seeing what we could find out, and it worked well. Our dogs really enjoy them, so we kind of started doing that and giving them out to other people, and yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Uncle Jammy's cut right in the aisle. You gotta love it. The story of how we came to be in sauces was Red Lobster's at State College. I worked there, a couple of months, and every so often I would just try to, alter some alcoholic recipe into a cake or something. The one day I looked online while I was, altering a recipe, and I entered a barbecue sauce contest. Now, didn't make anything proprietary, threw some ingredients together. I don't even remember what contest it was for, but I forgot about it. And then sometime in late September, a couple of coworkers just asked me to make some sauce because they were going to make wings for a Monday night football game. It is the day that I invented the Area 51 sauce. On that day, I really liked coming up with everything, so kind of pivoted away from cakes. So what sparked the interest in beer and having local beer in the sauce? I'm friends with Dennis Guy. He's the owner of First Sip Brewbox, now First Sip Studios. I was fortunate to be on hand when he needed to have a collaboration done with Southern Tier, and he approached me about doing something. That's where we offered up the Hooray for IPA, which is one of our better sellers. Hooray for IPA is a tomato mustard hybrid barbecue sauce with Southern Tier 2 times IPA in it. Cheers. We just kind of kept going after things, and the one we did with Penn Brewery was a little bit different because I wanted to really be unique and out there. That's when I kind of took my inspiration from the Japanese kuru burger, which is that, burger they have for Halloween, all black bun, black, cheese and everything else like that. We used Penn Dark, got some squid ink, and we made an all black barbecue sauce. And that kind of turned out really well.
Goldfinch Meadows was actually in my husband's family since 1976. So when we bought the farm, we wanted to have good life balance. And so we decided that we thought we would raise our own beef. It would be a great way to tend to the pastures and in turn feed our family and families in the community. The first year that we had cows, the butcher had given me a bag of fat, and I was like, okay, I'm an investment consultant. I don't farm. This is new to me. What do I do with beef fat? And so I started to research, the uses of beef fat. And I discovered that not only is it really good to cook with, it's actually better health-wise than olive oil. But I also found out that it was perfect for use in soap because it mimics the biology of our skin better than anything plant-based. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll try to make some soap. I enjoyed the soap making process so much that I was like, what else can I do? Everything has tallow in it. Lotion bars, candles, body butter, shave soap. I do a beard balm, shampoo bars. I could keep going. My brother and I are super close. So we're sitting around the campfire, having ourselves some beers. And he's like, Jenny, I love your soap, but I need something manly. And so jokingly, I said to him, okay, Matt, I said, I'll make one with beer. I'll call it Beer Me Matt, and that'll be your soap. And it actually surprised me when I made it how amazing it was. And it's actually a bestseller today. Originally, when I did the Beer Me Matt soap, I used Guinness. Then the one year, our one good friend, Bart, passed away, and they were doing a beer that was dedicated to Bart. I said to the guys that were organizing, I said, well, hey, why don't I do a soap for Bart with the beer that they made to honor him? You guys can use that for fundraising. That was a huge hit. And so part of that was I had to go to the local craft breweries and drop off these soaps for them to sell. After that, I decided, you know what? I think what I want to do is I want to do a soap from each of the breweries that were involved in the making of the Bart beer and do like a beer soap flight. I got some from Tattered Flag, from Rotunda, Snitz Creek, all local breweries. And so now every year I do a beer soap flight around Christmas time. And last year I did one that was completely all Rotunda Brewing Company and their seasonal beers.
We get the spent grains from local breweries. So Troegs was obviously one of the first ones we started with, and then other ones in our area. It's like if we're in the area for Hershey, I'll give them a heads up like, hey, I'm coming in. Can I grab some from you? In our area, some of the brewers out there have been really great. They'll contact me like, hey, we're brewing tomorrow. If you need some, come on out. The spent grains are all the grains that they use. It's before, any alcohol is made. They're heating up all the ingredients and mixing that. So they pull the spent grains. And for dogs especially, it's even before they put hops and all that kind of stuff in, because you're not allowed to have hops. They're poisonous for dogs. So I make sure with all my brewers that they know that. But they come wet, obviously, from the process. So in order for me to save them and keep them for a long period of time, I dry them out. It's a pretty basic recipe. There's no sweetener. It's a little bit of organic honey that we put in it. There's no preservatives in it. It's really peanut butter, just basic flour, baking powder, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about any of the other crap that they throw into stuff. But they are also freshly made, so they're not going to last on the shelf for months at hand. So, if you're keeping them, you want your dogs to eat them right away.
Not bad.
Oh, yes, my kids eat them. I have 2 daughters, and they will come in and munch on them. Actually, I was just making up this batch for Troegs, and my daughter was in there munching away, and her friend was in there. She's offering. I always feel so weird when people offer them because they're dog treats. So they're not super sweet, but they're not bad. They're good. They're just a very healthy peanut buttery cookie kind of thing, I guess.
As I was doing the research, I discovered how beneficial beer is for your skin. The hops in the beer are rich in amino acids, which are super moisturizing. So on top of the tallow being super moisturizing, the hops help to make the soap super moisturizing. And then the brewer's yeast that is used to make the beer, it's got a lot of antibacterial properties to it, so it's great for acne. So first and foremost, you crack open that can of beer. I let it sit for a day, let it get a little flat, and then you measure out your lye. Lye is technically like sodium hydroxide. It's a chemical, but when it reacts with the oil, the chemical aspect of it goes away in a process called saponification. So you measure out your lye and you slowly put it in your beer and stir it up, and it actually heats up to over 200 degrees, so you have to be very careful. Let that cool down while I'm mixing my oils. The oils that I use, there's tallow, obviously, coconut oil, olive oil. Heat that up together, and then you want to try to make sure that the temperature of the beer and lye are very close to the temperature of the oil. Put the lye mixture into the oil, blend it, put your fragrance in or essential oils, blend that, pour it into your mold. I usually put hops on top just for some fun.
It's not exact science, and nobody and nobody really has a manual on it. And you learn after a couple of failed tests that you have to pay for, that you didn't get all the alcohol out, and you don't learn that you don't get all the alcohol out if you have like a sugary kind of thick medium. Seasonings are a little bit easier to finish, tie together, a lot less regulation. So it's been spectacular. It's been a nice thing to have. I've kind of learned a lot. People love it. Some of the top responses are, "That's my favorite beer," or, "that you're speaking to me." I'm not gonna lie. It's a good kind of, gimmick to get into and to actually, connect with people in a different way. And it's also a perceived value add. When people see something that has bourbon or beer or even, like wine on some things added, they see it as something that's going to make the product infinitely better. They're really looking for the quality, and we've been lucky enough to be successful and kind of purveying that value.
I mean, we're always thinking about different things to do. I know I would love to get more creative with the dog treats as I do with the cookies that I make. And I see all these crazy things you can do with dog treats. So I'd love to be able to do more of that. It's finding the time to do that, because right now it is just me in the kitchen. So my business, I run throughout a coffee shop in Hollidaysburg. So they have, an outside patio that we have like dogs and people that bring their dogs. So it's really cool to be able to come in there. I've had a bunch of people contact me and say, they'll tell me their dog's names and be like, "He loves these. I have to come here and hunt for him every time we're in town." I mean, Troegs, we send out a shipment every 2 weeks to them, and it's been going really well. Other local breweries, they vary, but they've all been great to work with, and it seems to be going over well. Their dog lovers seem to enjoy it. So it's been a really cool experience.
We do like to work with beer. I mean, it's been fun. You get to work at a lot of beer events. You get to meet a lot of people in the industry. So, yeah, I mean, we jump at the chance to work with anybody.
This past year when I did the beer soap flight for Rotunda, they were so helpful to me. They gave me the beer that I needed. They didn't charge me for it. They said, "Here, take the beer and have fun with it." And they gave me descriptions of each of the beers and said, this is the essence that we're going for with this. And so what I would try to do then is I would try to mimic the scent to pick up on what the beer tastes like. Of course, I'd sample it too for artistic inspiration, but I love the beer community, honestly. They're just good people, salt of the earth. And I wish I could hang out more.
Thanks for joining us. That's all the time we have. Until next time. Cheers.